Let's hear it for our home team. And that was an original composition by Mercedes. She wrote that. Yes. When we embark on the spiritual journey of discovering who we are called to be, we must have a firm foundation on which to stand. A firm foundation comes in the form of our home, our place of work, and our place of worship. And with intention, the truth is that we can make any place holy and sacred. We can make any place holy ground. When Moses was called by God, the first thing that God told him to do was to take off his shoes. He said, "You are standing on holy ground." And in the symbolism behind that and taking off his shoes and standing there, is he's saying, "Yes, God, guide me, lead me, direct me. I am yours. I am taking those steps as your voice, as your messenger." Khalil Gibran spoke to sacred space in his poem on religion when he said, "Who can separate his faith from his actions or his belief from his occupation? Who can spread his hours before him saying, well, this is for God, this is for myself, this will be for my soul, and then this will be for my body?" He said, "He to whom worshiping is a window to open but also to shut, has not yet visited the house of his soul, whose windows are from dawn to dawn." Your daily life is your temple and your religion. Whenever you enter into it, take with you your all. That is sacred space. That is holy ground, our daily lives. So sacred space is created by the intention of what occurs in that space. And when this building was built over 50 years ago, it was built with the intention that it would be a place of worship and prayer and learning truth principles and supporting one another in living those. And when the ground was broken, before the building had begun, the staff, the board, the community would walk this space and would bless it. They would bless each room and acknowledge the intention for it, and said that the sanctuary and the chapel would be so filled with prayer consciousness that when you walked in the door, you couldn't help but feel it, particularly for the chapel because it's a smaller room and it carries that energy. And it was the intention of our founders from the very beginning that is what it is. Sanctuaries hold prayer and they hold sacred space. On Friday, a group of us went to St. James Cathedral for their Friday night Taizé service. And you know, as only cathedrals can do, they carry that energy with the stained glass and all the statues and the incense, where it's this, you just automatically go to this centered and peaceful space. And that's what sanctuaries are for, to carry and hold that space, that when we come here, we connect to this energy, but we also add to it. For Seattle Unity, we hold this sacred space partly through all of the tapestries that represent the world religions around the room, through our altars that are set up around the room, to call in the different energies. Now, to me, the difference between spirituality and religion, spirituality is, you're connecting with God, spirituality. But what religion is a doorway or a window through which to define God and to perceive God or the universe. And with each religion also comes a set of tools and guidelines about this is how you can most explore and discover God. So when we look around the room, we have Hinduism, which celebrates hundreds of gods, believes in reincarnation, has practices of yoga and meditation. We have Buddhism. The practice of loving kindness is one of the tools that Buddhism uses. We have the African tapestry that was dedicated last year, and that one of the things that tapestry did, that energy, it was calling in the ancestors. So it was a whole new thing for me to call in the ancestors and how powerful that was. We have Christianity and Sufism and Muslim religion toward the back. We have Shinto, Native American, who honors and celebrates the earth. Pagan, that celebrates our Wiccan sisters. And we have the Sikh and Judaism, calling in Jehovah and Yahweh. So when we look at these tapestries, we see that we have changed and reformed in some ways and are calling in the energies and the blessings and the goodness of all religions, because that's really, I think, where we're headed. You know, this separation of all the this is right and this one's wrong. They're all true and they all have similarities. So each religion represents a window or a perspective of God. So one of my questions to you this week as we're exploring sacred space is, does your home reflect who you are? Does your home reflect who you are right now? Now, the truth is that as within, so without, right? Our homes are an expression of who we are. And the truth is, if you've changed, then you probably need to change your home, right? Or perhaps if you're seeking change, you need to change your home. So if your home has changed, it also can cause you to change, because one can't happen without the other. So one of my girlfriends watches a lot of different TV shows, and one of the ones she's been watching lately is called What Not to Wear. And so I watched the last couple of episodes. It's over after 10 years. I just discovered it. And I watched the final episode. And basically, it's these two people that kind of surprise you because your friends or your relatives are in on it because they're tired of looking at your clothes. And they surprise you and they say, we're going to transform your wardrobe, but you have to throw pretty much everything away that you own. So they throw away all your clothes. And it's kind of hard on people. What was interesting to me was they had like a celebration on the last show where they called all the people who had been on for the last 10 years to come in. And what they found out was, because I thought this is kind of a superficial show, talking about your clothes and how you're supposed to dress. And 9 out of 10 times, someone who was on that program had a transformation in their life because they changed how they dressed, they changed how they looked. And again, as within, so without. You can't make a change within without having it out here. And you know what? You can't make a change out here without something happening within. So they found transformations in their relationships, in their jobs, and all these amazing things happened. And I thought, wow, that is really an interesting principle. So does your current home, and perhaps your clothes, does it reflect who you are right now? Does it reflect that inner being that you are? And another question that we have is, does this building reflect who Seattle Unity is now? Last year, we had an informal meeting to ask questions about the future of our church, of our building. And what's interesting to me is that when we make changes, even if we're talking about changes, and right now we're just talking about changes, we need to be conscious of the kinds of what these kinds of discussions can do. Because when we talk about changing, whether you're talking about changing your home, or you're talking about changing your job, or we're talking about changing this building, it can cause stirring, upset, grief, and unease. Yeah? But it also can stir hope and excitement and the idea of possibility and expansion and the idea of what's next. So changes in home and here need to be done consciously. So this building is over 50 years old, and it is in need of some serious repairs and some serious updating. And the founders of this church had the foresight to see 50, 60 years into the future. And now we're being called to do the same. When they built this building, their assumption was that because it was built in 1959, the assumption was that by 1975, maybe 1980, we would be in the center of downtown. Well, of course, that didn't happen because downtown is kind of all around us. But in the last, 6, 7 years, South Lake Union has just exploded. And you can see the construction that's going on all around us. And there's change that's happening in our neighborhood. There's change that's happening all around us. And so we are being called to look at what is next for our building. So we're having a congregational meeting on December 8th after the service to just talk about what's up. No decisions have been made. The board has been working on this. A committee, the SUV team has been looking at different ideas, as has a Quest group. And so we have teams working on this project, and we continue to create sacred space here through prayer and worship. But the thing I want to bring out into awareness is that when we're even talking about changes, when we're talking about movement, it can create unease and stirring. And so again, we enter into it consciously, with intention, and with openness to the ideas. So the other piece that I would like to look at here today is, how do we create sacred space in our home? Because we do it here. Yeah, we've got such great tools. We've got our altars, our music, our lessons. We come together in prayer. I mean, that's what churches are, really, and temples, is they're kind of generators of sacred space. But how do you create sacred space in your home? And I think the first thing that we have to do in order to create sacred space in our home is to get rid of clutter and to clean it. Not very sexy, is it? No. It's like, gosh, there's so many other things that are more fun. The truth is that when we clear clutter, when we release it and let it go, it creates space and energy. It creates movement. And I don't know about you, but I feel like I'm constantly releasing clutter and creating clutter at the same time. It's like I turn my back and it's back again. It's like it had children or something, It's like I clear space and it's like, there it is again. Have to move it and release it and get it out. And, there's all these, the experts are always telling us different ways to clear clutter, like just spend an hour or 15 minutes or choose one drawer and just do one little thing. Because remember, when we make changes in the outer, it changes in the inner. When we make changes in the inner, there are changes in the outer as well. One of the ways that we can create sacred space in our homes is through holy pictures, by having pictures or statues of Jesus, of Buddha, St. Francis, Kuan Yin, whoever it is that speaks to you. I have a St. Francis on my deck, and when I look at it, it brings me peace. It helps me become centered, and it reminds me to feed the squirrels and the birds, to put that out there. They carry with them a sacred energy that is brought into the house. The truth is, if we were Greek Orthodox, and when you moved into an apartment or a new home, if you were Greek Orthodox, the priest would come to your house with his big swinging incense burner, and he would come through with his incense and holy water, and he would bless your house. How many of us think to call a priest in when we move into an apartment or a house? And the truth is, we don't have to call in a priest, because every single one of us is an inner priest, Every single one of us has that ability to bring the sacred space to whatever it is, to wherever it is that we are. So I'd like to kind of just go through a few guidelines about using the elements, fire, earth, air, and water, and how we can use that to bless our homes. So the first element that we could talk about is earth. Now, earth, flowers, right? I mean, you just bring flowers into your home. Does it not uplift the space immediately? Now, of course, you don't want dead flowers around because then it kind of starts to have the opposite effect. Salt is another way to purify the home because salt absorbs negativity, it absorbs toxins. And one of the ways to work with salt is just to put it in the corners and let it sit for about 4 hours, or you can do a couple of days and then just vacuum it up as it absorbs negativity. So if you've moved into a new place, it's a way to, pick up that energy that may have been left behind. If someone's been sick, it's a way to begin to clear that energy. So salt is very powerful. Fire is also a purifying substance. And many of us here in the Northwest have fireplaces, and you know how warm and great that feels when you light your fire. And if you don't, we always have our candles. And there's such great, purifying energy that lighting a candle can bring. And I would particularly invite us to light a candle with intention, because lighting a candle with intention can do wonders. One of the things that I do when I say a prayer is I like to say the prayer, and then at the end of the prayer to light a candle with the intention that the prayer that I am speaking the intention is being held in this light. And as the candle continues to burn, so the prayer continues to go on. The candle carries the prayer in a sense. So this morning at the 9 o'clock service, I lit this candle with intention of the group because one of our members, Tracy Jacobson, is about to make her transition. No one can really tell, but it's probably going to be this week. And so we lit this candle symbolizing the light that is guiding her to the next world. If you are saying prayers for someone who is sick, or perhaps someone has made their transition, it's great to get those 7-day candles and just have that hold the prayer for you. So right now I would like to light this candle and say a prayer for the people of the Philippines, because they have been hit with a typhoon that they say is bigger than anyone that has ever hit the earth before. The estimates may be 10,000 people who have lost their lives. That's, there's no solid numbers yet, but it's huge, and it deserves our attention and our focus. So I invite you just to close your eyes for a moment and to go to your heart, not your fear, but that place of centeredness and that the God is good. And as we light this candle, we place in this prayer our blessings to the people of the Philippines. And I would like you to silently say a prayer to them right now. May you be safe. May you be healed. May you rebuild. And we also bless the earth, which is going through so many changes. And we affirm divine order for her. Amen. So the idea is that as the candle stays lit, again, it carries the prayer out into the world. Air is another element that we can use in blessing. Smoke symbolizes air, incense, sage, burning that to clear a space, but also I think that sound represents air. And so when I was ringing the bowl, a bowl or a bell is a good way to clear a space. Singing and your voice is a great way to clear a space. And if you say, hey, you know what, I can't sing or play an instrument, then turn on your stereo and put that on and clear the energy and create sacred space. Water is another element for creating sacred space. Now, the truth is, again, you don't have to go find a priest to get holy water. You can make your own holy water. And some of the things that we can use for holy water may be spring water, a river. But you know what? We live in Seattle, where it's raining all the time. We got holy water coming from the sky. So all you got to do is put out a bowl, catch some rainwater, and guess what? You got some holy water there. You know, other ways to bless water and create holy water is to put a bowl outside in the sun when it's here and let it get charged with the light, or put it out under a full moon and let the water become charged with the light of the full moon. For those of you who are interested in rocks and crystals and those things, you know, each one of them has a specific intention and purpose, and you can put that in the water and let it charge. And then you have your own holy water with which to bless your space. You can go out and get a branch, just dip it in the water and flip it around, and there you go. You have your own holy water. So we are priests and priestesses here. We create sacred space through our intention. You know, we all have the Spirit of God within us to bless. And truthfully, the most powerful way to bless your space, because you don't have to go out and get all the toys, although the toys are a lot of fun, and we do have some in the bookstore, but really the most powerful way to bless your space is through prayer. And I would like for us to bless this sanctuary with the prayer that is in the bulletin. It's adapted from Denise Linn. Now, here's what you can do with this, is it is spoken for the sanctuary, but you can speak it for your home when you get home, and you can use the elements of fire, earth, air, and water when you do this. So when we began, we talked about Moses standing on holy ground. So I'd like us all to stand up as we recite this prayer together. And the way this is going to unfold is I'm going to say the first line, and then you'll say the second half. So remember your intention. The spirit of air fills this sanctuary. May our thoughts be pure. The spirit of water fills this sanctuary. May our emotions be balanced. The spirit of earth fills this sanctuary. May our bodies be strong. The spirit of fire fills this sanctuary. May God be with us always. And now together, may this sacred space be a transmitter of light and loving kindness. And it is so. Amen. You may be seated. So when you go home, you can use this prayer to bless your own space. And there are many, many ways to bless your space. But in order to be who we are called to be in this world, we need to be standing on a firm foundation. The way we stand on a firm foundation is to create that in our own place, and it begins with cleaning, and clearing the clutter. This gives us a firm foundation on which to move forward out into the world. So my question is, does your home reflect who you are right now? And does this building reflect who we are as a spiritual community? When you change, so should your physical surroundings. And when your physical surroundings change, we change within. Remember, Khalil Gibran said, your daily life is your temple and your religion. Whenever you enter into it, take with you your all, because you can't separate, this is for my soul, and this is for my body, and this is for my mind, and this is for that, but it is all one. With intention, wherever you are standing on holy ground. May it be so.